This is a do-it-all stick. Every time I grab it, this is what I want to say. This is the El Rey del Mundo. This is what I miss about Knob Creek. This one right here, I'm going to have to do an old versus new. Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, I've got to give a shout out to Marco and Kristen. Thank you so much. They invited me into their beautiful home to give a little bit of a spiel on bourbon and whiskey and give bourbon and whiskey facts. I mean, they invited me into their home because they had their second annual bourbon and whiskey tasting. And Marco told me, he said, look, I'm going to have some non-bourbon drinkers. I'm going to have some beginning bourbon drinkers and, kind of maybe an intermediate bourbon drinker here and there. But we had a blast. I bought a bunch of bottles. I went over a whole bunch of bourbon facts. We played a game where we went to the bar layout that had all of the bourbons, and you picked 4 that you pretty much never had, and you just grade those. So we just had a ball, man. And then once that was over, that's when we started lighting up sticks. But not only did we light up sticks, the bourbon and whiskey tasting turned into a party. I mean, they had speakers, the DJ. I mean, we had a ball. And if you are from the DMV, you already know when the go-go music comes on, everybody gets up on the dance floor. So we had a ball, man. So shout out to you, Marco and Kristen. I really appreciate you guys having me there. I cannot wait on the third one. But let's get into the reason why I decided to come up with this video. And it was purely based off of that party. Like I said, YouTube doesn't like you to really talk about things that begin with a C and burn. So I am going to try and not use that word on the channel tonight. We're going to say sticks. I mean, that is pretty much what they're called in that world anyway. But sticks and sips that I'm into right now. And like I said, that party is kind of what sparked the idea for this video. So first up, I actually don't even have one. I had 2, ran through them, but it's more of a hearty smoke. It is the Don Pepin. So it's the Don Pepin Garcia out of the My Father's factory. But it's just, I tried to pair that with this right here. This is the Kemet Indian Single Malt. I am enjoying this right now. I am really digging those raisin notes, the golden raisin notes that are in there, the plum notes. I do have a review of this thing coming up, so that will be coming out soon. But the Don Pepin, I think they call it the blue label now. It smoked really nicely. It was light. It was like light, nice toasted almonds in it. It had a little bit of a bready note, and but the bready note was kind of fleeting. It was there, then it wasn't, then it was there, then it wasn't. It had a lot of like hickory and hardwood, so it didn't come off super hard. Even though I'm naming those notes, I thought that it was still kind of on a lighter side. So I put it with the Kemet Single Malt. This is the Indian Single Malt. And it just didn't pair well. It did not pair well. So I have yet to find anything that pairs well with that thing. But so far, I am enjoying this Kemet. Like I said, I chilled this thing down with some stainless steel whiskey stones, and it is one hell of a drink, man. All right, let's get into the next one. So the next 2 aren't necessarily paired because I haven't paired these 2 together yet. I believe I am going to pair them together once I get finished shooting the video tonight. So first up is going to be the Oliva O Maduro. I mean, this thing is just nothing but chocolate. It's got a little bit of spice, which I do not mind. I am more of a medium plus guy. I tend to stay away from things that are like super spicy and strong the entire time. From the foot to the nub. I try to stay away from those things. But this right here is just, it found that perfect balance. It's got chocolate, it's got a little bit of spice, it's got some of that graham cracker note. This is just, to me, one amazing stick. I actually like these more than the Oliva V's, believe it or not. And I do like the Oliva V's, but these are just, to me, it is one amazing stick. And one that I am loving right now, one sip that I am loving right now, that has to go to the Knob Creek Single Barrel Select. Now, this is a Single Barrel Select that's an ABC pick, a Virginia ABC pick. This is what I miss about Knob Creek. This one right here, I'm going to have to do an old versus new because I've got one of the rounded shoulder bottles with the newer labels that I believe they came out like 21. But the wavy bottle, man, this thing right here, it was just pure butterscotch, salted caramel and butterscotch and oak. I was like, this is what I missed. This is what I missed. So right now I am really enjoying the Knob Creek Single Barrel. and the Oliva O Maduro. All right, let's get this bottle off the table, and let's get into one that Marco was loving that night. Now this was this was pretty much a half of a bottle when I took it there. When I brought it back home, it was there. Marco was loving the bottle, but not only him, some other people must have been loving the bottle too. This thing right here, man. Oh man, pairing this with the Rocky Patel 20th anniversary. This stick is not going to be the sweetest stick in the world. Like I said, take all of this stuff with a grain of salt. I've really only been dibbling and dabbling into these for a year. So, you know, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. But this stick right here, it's more hearty. Like it's a lot of hardwood. It's got light almond notes in it. The same thing with the first stick. It's just a little bit of that graham cracker creeps in, but it's kind of fleeting. It's really earthy. It's very spicy. When I first lit it, it was very spicy. Then once it got to the middle, for some reason that spice calmed down. But then when it got to the last third, the spice picked up again. Like I said, I do not like stuff that's super spicy. Like I had an LFD, I can't remember the exact one, and it had that like deep red label that was kind of fading into like a black. Oh my gosh, I mean from foot to nub, that thing was spicy. I could deal with it, but that is not something that I would you know, prefer all the time. Now this right here, paired with the Peerless Double Oak, that char and chocolate that is in this Peerless Double Oak, they work so well together. So you got this like hardwood smoke in this Rocky Patel 20th with a little bit of that spice, and then you've got that oakiness in the Peerless Double Oak. It was a match made in heaven. I mean, all of the fruit notes started to really shine through in this Peerless Double Oak. The chocolate and the oakiness and the char in here, they just kind of canceled each other out, and then the only thing that was left behind was like this beautiful like red berry fruit note and a touch of cinnamon, man. So to me, this was one hell of a pair. All right, let's get the next bottle on the table. So this is a bottle that I talked a lot of trash about. Unless you saw my short and my review, I do not like the Shelf Woodford Double Oak. Everyone said get a pick, get a pick, get a pick. I have to say that these picks are great. I mean, you see where that thing is at. I am actually liking this bottle so much that I am running through it. And the stick that I had in the video was the La Gloria Cubana Esteli R, Series R Esteli Maduro. Let's say that one more time because I think I messed that up. So the La Gloria Cubana Series R Esteli Maduro. This thing, it's weird because it smokes. If you are into sticks, some sticks are like Oliva V's, pretty much anything from Oliva, are very ashy when you first light them up, and it continues all the way through. This smokes clean. I mean, it's weird. Yes, on the first light up, you're gonna get something like that ashiness, like that ashy taste in your mouth. But that's just from the foot of the cigar, and then all of a sudden it just opens up, and the more that you smoke it, it has almost like this clean. It's weird to say. If you're not into sticks, you light this thing up and you're like, okay, all right, I taste like an ashy like note. But then as you smoke it down, it's like this clean. It's hard to describe. I'm struggling to describe it right now. But either way, graham crackers all day long, like honey graham crackers, just got like this. Some people say barnyard smell. So that's the only thing I can kind of equate it to. You know, I don't live on a farm. The only barns I've ever been in was when I was a child, and I remember those notes, you know, when you go to a petting zoo, things like that. But what it smells like is what you get when you're smoking it down. And even some floral notes come out in this thing. I'm really impressed with this stick. Now, honestly, this is a 6x64. I really prefer it in the 6x60. I think it smokes a lot better in the 6x60. I think it smokes easier in the 6x64 for whatever reason. Like I said, it smokes clean anyway, but I like just a little bit more of a richer note And like I said, this thing does have some of that graham cracker all day. I mean, it's like graham cracker. It's got this a little bit of just a touch of spice, not too spicy, just like I like it. Medium plus, perfect. And it pairs well with this Woodford Double Oak. This Woodford Double Oak, I said it, it was a slight banana, New York cheesecake, graham cracker. The graham cracker in both of these things are just amazing. I never thought that I was going to find a bottle of Woodford Double Oak that I like, but this one right here, man, I am thinking about going and getting a backup. That's how much I like this thing. All right, let's get to the next one. So remember I told you that Kemet, I wasn't able to pair it with the Don Pepin Garcia. This Oliva, I haven't smoked this one yet, but this Oliva, this is the Connecticut. It's a shade grown wrapper. It's typically a lot lighter. The only shade grown stick that I've had that I liked was the Rose of Sharon. I haven't had this one yet. The reason why I was trying to pair that Kemet with the Don Pepin, because like I said, I thought it smoked a little on the lighter side and I thought it would be a good pairing. So I think I'm going to try and pair this with the Kemet. But anyway, let's get back to some of the bottles that I'm loving and some of the pairings that I'm loving right now. So this is the Rocky Patel Sun Grown. This thing does have a little bit of spice. It has some, this is medium plus with a touch of spice, heavy on the graham cracker notes, a little bit of the floral notes creep in this one as well. I mean, I really enjoy this stick. I really enjoy this stick. To me, this is something that you can smoke out on the golf course, or you can just enjoy it with a glass of whiskey. I wouldn't say that this is a do-it-all stick, and I do have one of those coming up, but I would say golf course or just chilling with a glass of whiskey, nice glass of whiskey. And one that I paired it with that I am really feeling right now, this is the Bourbon Single Barrel. This was from S&W, man. This thing, this is my backup because I've got pretty much that much left in the other bottle. But this thing right here is just, it's got those grapey Buffalo Trace notes, but the viscosity in this thing is just amazing, man. It's got the grapey Buffalo Trace notes. It's got a little bit of a citrus note going on in it, like orange citrus note. I mean, to me, I am really digging this bottle right now, and it paired so well with this Rocky Patel Sun Grown. All right, let's get to the second bottle that paired well with the Rocky Patel Sun Grown. This is a cheap bottle too. This is the very old Barton 100. This is just the very old Barton. I think I paid $17.99. To me, this is $17.92, but just a little youthier. It's not as grainy as you would think it's going to be for an $18 bottle. It has the same thing that the $17.92 has, that cinnamon, that clove. It has that red berry note in it. So I was really feeling this bottle. So, you know, about halfway through, after I, got finished with the Bowman Single Barrel, I said, you know what? I wonder if that would pair well with the Barton 1792, the very old Barton 100. And it did, man. It held up. It held its ground. One thing I do not like, and this is the reason why the Kemet and the Don Pepin did not pair well, is because I was getting way too much of the stick and I was not getting enough flavors from the Kemet. So this thing and this, actually, they held up. Neither one was overpowering each other, so that's why they pair well to me. All right, so last two bottles and the last stick. Every time I grab this stick, I just want to say El Rey del Mundo. No, this thing right here, man, this is a do-it-all stick. This is the El Rey del Mundo. It is, this is the Robusto Largo, which is just a larger Robusto. I think this one is like 6.5 by 50. The normal Robusto, I think, is like 5.5 by 50. And then they have a Churchill. They also have a Tubo that they have. And this thing only comes in at about $6. So like, I think for the regular Robusto, it was like $6.25. And then the Churchill was like $7.50. But you can get a box of 20 for $60. So that's pretty much $3 a stick. But the first one I had, I was blown away. I mean, like I said, this is a do-it-all. You can smoke it on a golf course. You can smoke it with a glass of whiskey. You can smoke it while you are cutting grass. To me, because the price and the value of what you're getting, this thing right here blew me away with like very deep, rich, almost like honey notes. So it had that graham cracker, it had that barnyard, it had deep, rich, like honey notes. And when I say honey notes, when you retrohale, I didn't get a lot of spice, didn't get a ton of spice. When you retrohaling is pretty much the same as nosing whiskey. Like when you nose whiskey, taking it through the nose, and sometimes you open your mouth when you take it in. Retrohaling is the same thing. I blow it out through my nose. Sometimes I blow it out through my nose and my mouth at the same time, and all of those flavors just open up. So it's not going to be like this super sweet honey that you think. No, it's not going to be like that. But you just get like these fleeting honey notes. Like I said, you get that barnyard. This one did have chocolate too. It did have, I mean, you're not going to get a ton of spice out of this thing. And like I said, spice really isn't my thing. But it pairs so well with Penelope Rio. This paired well. Now, I lit up 2 sticks at Marco's event. One of them was the La Gloria Cubana, this Series R Esteli, and then the second one was this one right here, this El Rey del Mundo. And man, I'm telling you, it went so well with the Penelope Rio that I was just, it was ridiculous. The honey in the Penelope Rio and the fleeting honey notes in this just worked so well together. Neither one overpowered the other. And then got myself some of the Joseph Magnus cigar blend, and this thing went well with this one too. It's just, like I said, this is just a do-it-all stick, man. And for what? If you buy a box of 23 bucks a stick, I mean, come on, man. But look, anyway, these are the sticks and the sips that I am feeling right now. Put in the comment the sticks and sips that you are feeling, and with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you add it to a drop. Till next time.